All right, everyone. We're here and we're recording. My name is Stacia, and I'm the social media manager at Karis Books, which is the South's oldest independent feminist bookstore. And I'm also the social media manager as the nonprofit programming arm of Karis Books. And we are so excited to host our 8 amazing panelists tonight for a reading and a discussion of Black Joy Unbound, an anthology that is the event is co-sponsored by BLF Press. Karis, of course, is so happy to have a long-standing history with BLF Press and with Dr. Stephane Andrea Allen, who is an editor on this anthology and will be starting off the panel discussion today. I'm going to quickly introduce Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen is an interdisciplinary humanities scholar, a creative writer, a small press publisher, and assistant professor of gender studies at Indiana University. Her research centers Black lesbian cultural histories and Black feminisms throughout various expressions, including literature, film, and other print and visual media. Dr. Allen is also publisher and editor-in-chief at BLF Press and co-editor of Serendipity Literary Magazine. Before I pass it off completely to Dr. Allen, I just want to remind everyone that you can leave comments and questions in the chat box below. You can also especially make it a question so it shows up in a question box for our panelists to answer at the end. And you can also purchase a copy of Black Joy Unbound and support Karis while doing so by clicking on the teal button below. So with that, I'm going to give it to Dr. Allen, and I will see you all again at the end.
Thank you, Sasha. Well, good evening, y'all. I am excited to be here. I want to start by thanking Karis for hosting us once again. We partnered with them, I think, three times before with some of our book launches, and it's always been a wonderful experience. And we thank you for being the oldest feminist bookstore in the South and maintaining that. And so we're just excited to be here. I want to start by thanking Lauren, my co-editor and co-conspirator at BLF Press. This is our 10th title, and I am so excited about that. It has been a long 9 years, and we are just so excited to be here. So I wasn't planning to read introductions, but I do want to just shout out everybody that's on the panel. So Lauren Sherrill, here is my, girl, I can't remember what your title is right now. Partner, how about that? Publishing partner, how about that? Auntie Doris Davenport is always a joy to be in the same space with you. So I'm so excited that you're here to read with us tonight. Kwame Daniels is here with us also from Baltimore. Desminum, I don't remember where you said you were from, but I'm excited that you're here, girl. Sean is from Richmond, and Esperanza is from Detroit. And she's telling us about how amazing Detroit is. And so hopefully she'll invite us up there to hang out with her soon. Okay. All right. So I want to start by just talking a little bit about your iterations of Black joy. You know, Lauren and I had an idea a couple of years ago about just thinking through the literature that we've been reading and just really wanting to do something a little bit different. You know, it felt radical to publish a book that just really centers Black joy, given the fact that so much of our literature focuses on Black trauma, you know, and so we know that those stories are important as well. But they've become the only story to some degree, you know, and so we really set out to do something a little bit different. Just thinking about Ross Gay and Adrienne Marie Brown and other folks who write about delight and joy, and, you know, thinking about the ways in which we can manifest our own joy, as well as thinking about Black queer joy, you know, and we really want to kind of center that as well. And so that's what we did, you know, and so we just invited folks to submit their own experiences, thoughts, feelings, reflections on Black joy. And so it turned into this amazing, beautiful book. And Lauren has been doing our covers now for about, for 9 years. And she never misses, never. You know, I can tell her what I'm thinking about, and I promise you she's going to get it just right, you know. And so I'm really, really pleased with the way this book came out. So I want to ask you all, before we start doing the readings, I just want you to tell me just a little bit about your sense of Black joy. What does it mean to you? Why did you submit to this anthology? And I'm going to start with my top left, and that will be Kwame.
I feel like part of what my Black joy is and what my experience of it is ancestor worship. I'm a root worker. I work with plants. I work with spirits. I try to connect. And part of that has been research. Definitely looking into slave narratives and the delineations of like Black cuisine all the way from, Africa, and practicing that and cooking traditional recipes. So, I mean, my poem is embodiment, but that's my Black joy, is embodiment, is being in my body and using my body, and connecting.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. Auntie Doris.
Yes, dear Dr. Stephanie Nisi. I think Black joy is my definition of Blackness. I mean, I think that I came from a place where, fortunately, we were pretty much undiluted. Certainly, we were segregated, but we lived in cultural autonomy. And that means that I had Black teachers. I had all these beautiful Black women who were my role models growing up. And my mama was exceptionally all of that, too. So there were several little communities. In those communities, we sort of lived and created art and created each other for each other. And we lived in the context of joy. If there are no oppressors near us meaning LGBTQIA+, meaning all women, meaning all so-called oppressed people, if you remove the oppressor, what is left is joy. If you put your energy on what pleases you and concentrate on that, come up with something like Black Joy Unbound.
Thank you. I'm going to go next to Esperanza.
Oh, okay. I was like sort of an affirmative action baby, born at the time when some of the laws were coming into place that were allowing us to go to school and to eat what other folks ate and so forth. So I feel blessed to have been able to access opportunities and sometimes even provide opportunities. So joy to me is sharing the ability to be able to think freely, to do things freely, to achieve the goals that you want. And I was an educator most of my life. So I feel like my joy is sharing and giving and being. I don't know.
You just told us. Okay, Sean.
Yeah, Black joy for me is definitely being who you are unapologetically, no boundaries, no stipulations, nothing like kind of in your way, like very, very much being unbothered. Black joy is being unbothered. Like Black joy is saying, I can show up however I am and no one can stop me. Black joy is anti-respectability. Black joy is fierce. I'm a club kid down, so Black joy is nights out, embracing the night, and embracing the nighttime as a space for pure like joy and wonder. And kind of flipping that on its head with the nighttime, with shadows and darkness is where you were hidden. No, now you're up front. And especially now, I feel like the last thing that really resonates with like Black joy for me is community. So it's like, whether it is your family and, the looseness of that term, whether biological, chosen, found, all that good stuff, especially, and like, we'll get into it when we do the readings, like, community and having that, other person, multiple people in your corner, in these times of like, we're always living in unprecedented times. That's why I always tell my friends. But yeah, I feel like, it's just so important. Especially I feel like in Black queer narratives as well too, where, oftentimes it's the dysphoria, it's the harm, it's the violence. But I wanted to, do something else. But yeah.
Thank you. Just Minnow.
Thank you. I'm from Chicago. And Black joy to me is really love. If I think about all the ways in which, you go through life and, certain things are unpleasant, the thing that I can reflect on and recenter myself is all the ways in which I've been loved. And I submitted to the anthology. It was actually recommended to me from a former professor, and I actually took a pause because I didn't think I had anything to say about joy. I lost my mother, father, and grandmother in the last 10 years, and a lot of my writing has been focused on processing those feelings. But then there's also the love of being partnered, and was what I could bring to the anthology.
Thank you. Thank you. And Lauren?
Yeah. So I think the definition for me is definitely changing. So let me talk about it as I am now. So I think there's so much joy in being able to be who you are and define yourself for yourself, right?
Yes.
I have an art degree, and I would never call myself an artist, right? I publish and still hesitate to call myself a writer. But I'm getting better at calling myself a creator because I feel so much comfortable with that term than anything else. So it's just being able to really recognize who I am and how I create and know that those things will change over time. And as I approach a new decade, being happy, being very happy with being able to let the how I define myself as a creator, let it evolve. Like, I'm embarking on a new children's project. And 2 years ago, you would have never told me, oh, I'm dabbling into, children's literature. But there's just so much joy in just being able to create and be who you are and let the ancestors just bring things to you, right? And to embrace and roll with it and not worry about being perfect, but know that I have talents and I can put them out there. And one thing that's very important at BLF Press is, we go real love. Like, I don't need the larger publishing community to accept who I am. I do that and my community does that.
Yes.
So there's so much joy in just being rooted in who you are, being rooted in what you bring to the table and being okay with whoever it reaches.
Yes, and I'll give Regina a minute to get settled in. But I'll just share with you all my, all that everybody else has said. But I think this right here, publishing and, spending time in my writing community, this community that we've built up at BLF Press because we decided that we just needed to, I had a vision in graduate school, in 2014 that we needed a space for us, that publishing wasn't as accepting of us as it thought it was, and that there was still room and that there was a need for a space just for us, for Black women, for Black queer folks, for Black gender variant folks. And we've been able to do that. So it brings me joy to be here. It brings me joy that we are still alive, that everything that they do tries to kill us, but we're still here. That brings me joy every single day. That I get up and I walk around on this primarily white campus and I am my Black self every single day. That brings me joy. And that we've published 10 books and that we've centered Black people and Indigenous folks and queer folks in every single one, that brings me joy, and so I'm just happy to be here, but it's true, and just to read your work, brings me immense joy. And like Lauren said, we don't need the larger okay of, the Big Five or whoever to tell us that our work is valuable because we know that it is, we know it's deep from our rooted souls. We know that the work is valuable and that we have value as people, and so, our words matter, our joy matters. And the fact that we can be joyful makes folks angry, so we have to be more joyful, right? Because that's our job, to make sure that we do what we came here to do, whatever that is, whether it's writing or whatever, but I think that we have to express that, in whatever way matters for us. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. This is the first time we've ever published Black cis men in our books, right? I know. But But I'm gonna tell you, so we've been around long enough now for people to know who we are, right? So if you submit to BLF Press and you know who we are, you know that we are Black, we are lesbian, and we are queer, and we're gender expansive, and that you have to come to us knowing who we are. And we got some beautiful work, you know. And I was really happy to be able to say, let's open it up to everybody this time, you know, to see what we get. And I was just so appreciative of the wonderful work that we got, some beautiful poetry, you know, and I think that that matters too, that we can, you know, celebrate all expressions of Black joy. Now, we might not publish no more, but but we did this time, and I'm glad that we did, because it's important for us also to make sure that we give space to everybody. Sometimes, you know, that this book is about Black women and Black queer folks and Black gender variant folks. BLF Press is, but that doesn't mean that we can't open the doors a little bit sometimes for other folks. And that brought me joy that we got really amazing, beautiful work by folks who are in community with us. You know, that our co-conspirators do exist and that they want to publish with us, and that matters too. We have to keep that in mind too, right? Regina, welcome. Tell us a little bit about why you, well, not why, but what we're talking about now is what brings us joy and how that manifests for us. And so I just want to invite you to share your thoughts. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Check your sound. Okay, we'll come back to you. You might have to check your settings, but we'll come back to you. Okay. All right. So we'll start with a couple of greetings. Do you have your sound back? Okay, she's trying to get it now. Okay. All right, so we'll come back and we'll start with Auntie Doris. And Doris is my chosen auntie. I want to make sure y'all know that. She claimed me as her niece, and I'm claiming her as my aunt because we do. But yes, and so I would love for you to read a little bit for us.
All right, I will do that for you. Since you asked, I will do that for you. So I got to say again, everybody, greetings, hello, hey. I am so grateful to you, Lauren, and to you, Dr. niece Stephanie. I met Dr. Stephanie when she was still ABD. We started corresponding, because if you Google, it's getting a little better now, but if you Google old-timey dykes or lesbians, my name will pop up. If you Google Black lesbian, my name pops up. So if you're trying to interview or write a book about it, if I die, I don't know what's going to happen. I got to leave all this stuff to my sisters who happen to be here. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Dula. Hey, Audrey. So that you can get some archives going, right? But anyway, somehow Stephanie found me and we did some sort of interview, and that seems like a long time ago, but it wasn't that long ago. And so because she did, and the way she reached out, I was like, well, I can't exactly adopt her. Like, I have some spirit kin that I call children. So she became my niece, and I've been ever so proud of her. The publishing ventures, the Ph.D, the cat. Y'all familiar with that cat? Lord have mercy. Oh, that's a whole nother legend. Okay.
She in it.
Okay.
She in it.
With you. I'm like, why ain't the cat on the back of that chair? You know, anyway, here we go. Greetings, everybody, and thank you, Lauren and Stephanie. So I'm just going to read a little bit from the poem, Let's Just Get Real for a Minute. This poem was written in December 2022 when our BG came back home. Brittany Griner came back home from the unlawful incarceration, as you all know, in Russia. Our BG, I'm skipping a little bit, is back home safe. Many groups and people wanted her home, but only we, Black women, know this deep pleasure, praise, relief, endless gratitude, because the whole world knows what we know, that BG is articulate, gorgeous, beautiful, sensual, strong, and the whole world wants to own or to be a Black woman. And when they can't even tell the truth. Instead, they try to punish, humiliate, hurt, instead of just praise, honor, and celebrate. We know how all this could have gone. We rejoice that she is now almost home with her wife and friends to recover, to rest, to be healed in love. And joy, part 2, keeping it real. I will get something done today to celebrate that Brittany Griner is on the way. From that prison camp in Russia, dark shit, coming on over here to take part. and Christmas, maybe. It might be I just make up the bed. It might be that I comb my head. It could be that I just dance and laugh instead. And I don't care if this gets read or not, because Brittany is coming home. Brittany is coming home. And Reverend Senator Warnock won. Can't tell me nothing today.
Thank you.
That's my
Regina, did you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about why you about your definition of joy?
Hopefully you can hear me now. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. All right. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I would say my definition of Black joy for me is like nature. Being out in nature. I enjoy just riding my bike and doing things that brings me joy. Being out, watching the sky at night. That and music. Like I would say like music is my element. So I can just like singing, and that just gives me so much joy. So those things like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Kwame, did you want to read next?
Sure. I'll read the second part of embodiment.
Okay.
The problem with the bathtub is that we have to be naked. No matter the kindness of Epsom salt on our pained joints, no matter the earthy smell of white oak bark and cherry wood perfuming the water, the problem with the bathtub is that we relax in it, our carefully prepared bath tea and well-poured salt easing our pain until we feel everything else. We see the swell of breasts and belly, we feel our hips settle, the water never goes high enough that our belly is hidden when we lay back, and our nipples poke from the water as we roll our shoulders, run our hands over our thighs, feel the push of water between fingers. We are in our skin, we are in our veins, our heartbeat thudding. What else can we do but hurt, but fear, but be?
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I love the imagery there. Just love it. Who's next? Esperanza.
Oh, okay. All right. This poem is actually a memory. I was the first person in my family to get a college degree, and then, of course, subsequent degrees. And I was just thinking about my mama when I wrote this. It's called Pork Chops. Mama sat, knees and feet tight, on the edge of my bed, a narrow bunk in a dorm room, freshman year. The plate on her lap was wrapped in snug tucked foil. Her driver, an old man, a neighbor from up the block, sat by the desk in the only chair. Mama just wanted to see, to let me feel her pride, because words would never be said. But I could smell the crisp fried chops, creamy potatoes and sweet peas, a testament to her skill, and my favorite.
Yeah. I love a good food poem. I really do.
That was a mama poem. What
Yes.
food?
Mama poem with food, absolutely. Yes.
I thought it was some food in it. Okay.
It was. Okay, Sean.
It's my turn, right?
Yes.
So I will be reading Mama Didn't Want No Princess. Both of the poems I submitted, Mama Didn't Want No Princess and If Beale Could Talk, are actually from this little book right here. So usually, translating from like the actual page to like a digital document is always fun to me because they're kind of like two separate worlds. But yeah, this one, basically about, my gender transition and like my mama's, unpacking of that and like our journey with that together. Mama didn't want no princess, waiting on her own Prince Charming. But that's what happens when you're raised by a queen.
Mm.
Mama's closet he did find all her jewels and pearls divine, and she smiled as he wore her wig as a crown. Mama didn't want no princess, so she told her to always look up, never stumble, and walk tall.
Mm.
Didn't want her getting hurt at all. Mama loved her little princess. That's her baby, her pride and joy. Mama knew that one day she'll have a queen, and that's what excited her more.
Yeah. I love that poem. We were after girl. I love this. I told Lawrence, girl, we got to publish because I loved it. It was just such a beautiful poem.
Yes.
I love the notion of acceptance.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. It's a really beautiful poem.
It is.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jasmine.
Me, all right. Too alone in public.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
I want to hold down the beach sands with you. Describe the sounds waves make until daybreak. Skinny dip in the depth of your stare. Soak up the silence underneath the moonlight and eavesdrop on the conversation between our hearts. Stars beat in the sky for us. The 808 thump of it summons a flirtatious wind. A gentle kiss through your hair sprouts wings, flies into the stick of your lip gloss, and hangs there like broken cobwebs anchoring the top of a door frame, interrupting the thought train advancing your tunnel. You tunnel it through your mouth with intimate requests. Pull up to my drive-through, speak ear. I tell you, I can serve it fast, but you'll have to eat it slow. A gasp fills the space between your giggled response to provoking the slick talk in me. Sirens smile lust, spread and rise to the surface of my skin, and I glow brighter than the moon because of you, and hard as stone where it counts. You are dynamite fine with a lit fuse. I'm weak like rotted wood fences when I'm near you. I'm weak like Maxwell House Sanka with an ice cube. I'm under your spell like a slip of paper beneath a book of black magic, holding the details. Mix well in your heated cauldron. And even though I cause the fire, know that I am not fire retardant. So when the flame roars, I'm consumed by it. Ashes to ashes, I don't mind it, as long as we are two alone in public, touching in private.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, girl. You are dynamite fine with a lip.
That was hot.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That was lovely.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, Virginia.
Who's up? Did you say my name? Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Okay, the first poem I'm going to do is a found poem. It's called See the Skinny Lady by the Fire Hydrant. See the skinny lady by the fire hydrant. I know enough to get her shirt off, unbutton her jeans, whisper something in her ear. In the basement, a candle lit, we bend space together. Do it in the kitchen while water boils. Her long hair covering my face, our bodies inverted, structures measured beyond shadow, beyond the equation of limbs. This is not a giant leap, more like compassion or a sidestep between.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. All right. We have some time, so we're still good on time. So, does someone want to read one of the other poems? Go ahead.
Okay. And my other poem is called My Lisa Bonet Obsession.
Okay.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Her eyes haunt me like small towns gone belly up. Louisiana lashes dark and heavy as old photographs. Voice smooth as Delta blues, then shredded, crumbled. Her arms be banyan rooted in down dog position. pressed into yoga mats instead of my arms, which are just as soft, just as sturdy. With my back against the floor, I see the size of her breasts matches the circumference of my open mouth, titties dangling. I say, Bonet girl, what you doing in this place this time? Spirits made slits of your eyes. I saw them ride you so many years ago, turned you tissue paper thin. I watched you beside me then. The tips of your hair turned blonde by the California sun. My skin blazed, but yours looks so cool. Your arms covered in soft down, pale as grasshopper's wings. Plantain, or was it pineapple in your frail hands? Words alone could break you, so I stayed silent. But I longed to touch your locks, so heavy against your hips, how they reached for your toes, like strangled trees capture, encase, like bougainvillea vines attach their flowers to our world.
Thank you. Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
All right, now, Auntie Doris, you said that there was something that you wanted to read from somebody else that you really
Yes, just the first stanza.
Okay.
Well, I'm going to read my other poem too, but I want to read this first stanza more than anything else for everybody. I want somebody to help me read it. You know that choral chime in.
Which point is it?
Huh?
Which poem is it?
Page We Come Up, page 70.
Okay, got it.
Some words just make you hum. They sure do, Maria. They sure do. I just want to say, Regina, again and again, everybody, I love everybody's work. But that Lisa Bonet poem, those images, her hanging over you while you do yoga on the floor, we match each other. I'm stopping. Imagery. So I can read this stanza now, Stephanie? Okay. This is from a poem called We Come Up by Elizabeth Mudinho. Forgive me if I'm mispronouncing your word, Elizabeth, if you're anywhere around or if you should hear this. I just got my book today and I've been having such a happy experience. But this first paragraph to me sums up a whole lot about Black joy and our experiences of sensually experiencing each other in different kinds of places and things. So I want to read the first stanza and somebody else could read the next one and like that, right? Okay. We could do that. We come up. There is ginger beer, red wine, white wine, brown liquor, cold water, sweat flows, hips wind, deep sighs, gut groans, loud mouths, belly laughs, gapped tooth, sweet tooth, shy eyes, hot takes, good food, barbecued, jerked, boiled, pan, fried, stewed, and simmered.
Your tongue is out, your chest is out, arms out, froze out, heads wrapped, smells like shea, like cocoa, like ganja, like coconut oil, like not a dry elbow in the house. All our lips are plump, lyrics shining to and fro.
Yes. Come through, Sean. Get that next one. Yeah, read it. Not if they're the same. Come on, work it.
Not to interrupt the flow, but I don't have my book.
I can read the next one.
Go ahead, Tommy.
Not a head the same, and everyone knows we braid together. We remember your pronouns, your sun sign, where you grew up, what you adopt.
Okay, I got the next one. Everyone knows the vibe, and all the ancestors come through. We count from now, and your spirit never broke. We get high, we get still, and finally.
Finally, we see who first. Come through, Regina.
Oh, see who blinks first, cracks a smile, buckles without saying, how I've missed you.
Yeah, that's good. That is good. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you, Stephanie, for allowing us to do that.
Absolutely.
Now that's got food in it.
Yeah, it did.
I got food.
Sorry.
Can I read mine with food in it?
Yes.
Okay. This is
a page so we can read along.
Okay, page 92.
Okay.
Page 92. Esmeralda is a very good poet. She wrote a poem about pork chops, which she said is not about food, but it's about her mother. Esmeralda is from Detroit. She likes to pick on me. I don't care. I like her anyway.
I like you too, Doris.
Her now. We're all invited to Esmeralda's house where she will cook. We'll put it on Facebook in a minute, okay?
You are a mess, girl.
Feast Day. Celebration of the 1863 Emancipation Proclamation, page 92. This was me fixing New Year's Day food for my sisters. And I am blessed and lucky and rich enough to have 3 sisters living in Georgia. And one is in Baltimore, which is not that far away. But I was cooking feast day celebration. So as I prepared a feast for my 3 Georgia sisters and me, some kinsperson whom I love, but maybe not enough, wants more attention specifically. So compelled me back to the store, scrounging the smoked meat section for ham hocks. Possessed, I, a pacifist vegetarian, I was about to bash a small Mexican child in the head or elbow the elderly, fragile white female to reach that last package. So glad as they made other odious dead meat choices, leaving me with the prized last package. But to my conscious knowledge, I have never prepared this meal. Maybe past lifetimes, suppressed, forgotten, denied. Yet here they bubble in my cauldron pot, covered in alchemical hot water, collards and onions, cayenne, black pepper and salt, whatever else I got, to cover the smell, to season that taste with this prayer. Dear benign deceased ancestors, foremamas and male creators to all, let me praise you in all I do, serve your memory every day. But this is it with the ham hocks today, okay? So, enjoy.
I should have let you read my poem. Because you good.
Thank you, Esmeralda.
All right.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, everybody. It's for my sisters who happen to be here, too.
Yes, indeed. All right, so I'm going to read my poem, and we'll open it up for questions. Unless somebody else wants to read something else, just let me know, okay? All right. So I asked Lauren if I should submit this poem to my own anthology, and she was like, I think it works. Because I had written it a while back, but I wasn't sure that it fit, but this worked with me. Okay, so dirty, warped, and cracked. What if the lens through which you came to know yourself was dirty, warped, and cracked? Do you scrape off the sick with a scalpel or splash it with bleach, leaving soured streaks? Do you shatter the glass with the hammer of your pain or seal the crack with salve conjured from your tears? Do you sand the warp with the terror of your torment or buff them smooth with the scowl of your rage? What if the lens through which you came to know yourself was only an illusion and you could alter its image with your will, and you were cleansed in the canals of love and affection, and your heart was nourished with the promise of infinite dreams, and your wounds were sutured with a thread of hope, and your scars were soothed with shea until they ceased to exist, and you were flying among the stars?
Yes.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what page it was. All right, so we have time for lots of questions, so I hope the audience has some. And so I am looking.
While you're looking, Stephanie, I just want to say, like, being a part of a project and, you just kind of sit behind the words in the page, and just being able to be here and y'all bring this to life is giving me life. So thank you so much.
Yeah. It is such an experience to meet you all in person and those folks who are on the chat, and to read the poems. And it really, poetry, we weren't sure what we were going to get. We really wanted equal, amounts of poems and, prose, but that doesn't always happen. So I got a lot more poetry, and it needs to be heard, And so what I know I have to do before I can decide that I love a poem or not is to read it out loud, for myself. Because poetry is made to be listened to, it's made to be heard. And so I think that is part of the spirit of this is, reading the poems and feeling them, together, experiencing this together. I think that's part of the joy of this whole project. And for sure, it just really means a lot to be able to be here with you all and to hear your words, to think about, to hear your experiences, how you come to this work, what you bring to this work, all that matters, and you put yourselves on the page. Poetry allows us to do that in a way sometimes that prose does not, that we can feel you on the page, and I think that matters a lot for us, for the audience, for anybody who reads this book and touches it. My other, literary foremother, Auntie Jewel Gomez is in the audience, and, one of the things that she said when she, blurbed the book was that, it made her feel some kind of way. She said she almost cried when she's reading some of the stories because it really just brought some emotion to bear for her. The work that she does is rooted in experience and joy in a very particular way. And that mattered a lot, and so, I'm just honored that you all trust me with your work and trust me and Lauren with your work. That matters to us, because we care for you and for it, and part of our work here is to make sure that we honor that work and that experience. All right, so who's got questions in the audience? Comments?
I got a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think I'll just put it like this.
Okay.
I eagerly opened the book, Lauren and Stephanie, and I couldn't wait to read the introduction. There isn't one. Has to be a first for me, I mean, of course, I'm an academic as well. And, we are in academia are taught that, you got to have somebody tell you what this book is about. We hire people, we get people to blurb it. It didn't matter after I started reading, to be honest. That first poem was the introduction. But I guess I'm curious, was there a reason that you didn't provide an introduction?
Absolutely. But yeah, we talked about it. We did, and we always. I think we did one for Solace some years ago. We did, and I think that was the last time we did an introduction. And I think that part of what it is for me, and Lauren can jump in too, is that I don't want to tell you how to feel and what to read. I don't want to. I want you to open the book and discover. And I think that's important to me. This book, I hope, is used in academic spaces, just like Homegirls, just like This Bridge Called My Back, just like all the other books we've published. However, but I do think that I want to leave it up to the reader how to approach the book and what to discover there. And I think that introductions serve, an academic purpose sometimes. And I think that can be helpful for an academic text to help kind of ground you. But I want you to experience this, to pick it up and read a poem today, read a poem tomorrow, and to not be guided in that way. It's important for me. And I knew people were going to ask, why isn't there an introduction? Because we didn't want one. I figured that. Okay. Years, or maybe 5 or 10 years, when somebody does, we reissue a version of this, we might go back and have someone do a preface or something. But honestly, I just think that I love for people to just experience the work as it is, and I think that I just didn't think it needed one. I think we've gotten that question about a couple of anthologies, but the books do what they do on their own. Once it leaves us, it belongs to the reader, and I don't want to tell the reader how to read. That's something I just don't want to do.
Okay.
I will say, personally, I don't like spoilers. I don't like movie trailers. When I read a book, I don't read the back of the book. I don't like spoilers. I just want to experience it for what it is. So because I feel that way, I'm not a big proponent of introductions. And some of the introductions I've read, I feel like they give away too much. And like Stephanie said, I don't personally feel like I need to kind of prepare the reader to do what they're supposed to do, which is read. And also because we're a small press, we can do whatever hell we want to do. So putting in introductions to me, following some type of script, right? Okay, we have an anthology, let's put in the introduction. And even when we gather in these virtual spaces, I don't know, I think it was a while back, and I said to Stephanie, I was like, please, let's not start with introductions. If we have an hour, let's get in there and do what we need to do. If you want to know more about the writers, we can give you that information. You can find it on the website. But I try to be very intentional about how we use our time, right? And I feel that same way in the written form.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just, if you want to know who the contributors are, I appreciate Sasha introduced me, but she didn't even need to. We're in the back of the book, all of us are. And I think that what I want folks to also do is to go look for everybody's work. To find out more about the writers. If we tell you too much, then I think we lose a little bit of something in the reading. And so Lauren and I absolutely agree on this. In terms of not needing an intro, Okay. I saw a question up there. Let me go see if I can find it. Hold on. Let me go back. It's a question for the contributors. It says, did you have to take on a different way of working to write on Black Joy, or is it something that already guides your work? And that question is for the contributors. Did you need to think about this work differently in order to write about joy? Or does it already guide your work?
It already guides my work. Everybody seems, you look so thoughtful. I can just quickly answer that. For me, it's guided my work all my life. That's why I couldn't get published in the 60s and 70s, because I refused to write Black pathological drama. I said, I don't do Richard Wright School of Literature. I don't, okay? You ain't gonna get me beat to death on no roof that I'm gonna write about it, okay? About it, I ain't gonna do that. No, I have always posited joy, even if I was writing about something which, some people might not think of as joyful. Even if I'm writing about somebody who's oppressing me, that I'm gonna be telling you how ugly the oppressor is, which is why it's oppressing people. If it wasn't so ugly, it wouldn't be doing it. So joy has always been a foundational part of my writing and my work. Thank you for that question.
I was thinking about something. I was watching a doc on the Harlem Dance Troupe, and they were asking the guy who was the choreographer, the head choreographer, and I can't remember his name. And he was saying, they were asking him, well, Black people are so creative. Do you think it's the pain and struggle and so forth? Right, that makes them creative. And he said something like, no, it is the joy at surviving that pain. It is the being alive after the captivity that is driving us. And that's the way I feel. I feel like whatever we write about, whatever we create, it is like an explosion of joy, because it is being free to create. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Come on, Reverend Esperanza.
You're not crazy. Let us stop. Stephanie, control Doris.
Hey, I want me to do.
Yeah, really.
Anybody else want to address the question about did you have to think about this more differently in order to write about joy?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean.
You can go.
Okay, so I would say for me, I'm gonna steal that answer and say, yeah, joy also radiates a lot in my writing. I would like to think I'm a very happy and joyful person. All that angst, that was in high school. Like that was when I was like a freshman in college, like that and all of that, like rough and tough exterior. No. I'm very much peaches and rainbows, cupcakes and sunshine. And so it wasn't really as like, I guess, hard getting in that headspace to write about joy as, I tend to write in general as a meditative practice, both creatively and like personally in terms of like journals and diaries and whatnot. And I usually always try to be like on the optimistic side or focus on the joy, just because there are folks, it's a this and there are going to be folks that tackle the harsh, the oppressive, the angry, the upsetting, the sad, and like I'm just bringing something else to the table as well. My motto is kind of reject cynicism. That's what they, the big capital they, want us to do. Is they want us to be cynics. They want us to all be not optimistic, because that translates to inaction. And I feel like my joy is action. Period. Okay. Kwame, you got this.
I am multiply disabled. I have fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, and I have various other chronic illnesses and mental illnesses. And I feel like if I want to live, I have to be joyful. If I want to be able to make it day to day with so much physical pain, I'd like to ground myself in my joy and in the ways that I connect with others. Because otherwise my brain will just float away. So
I feel that.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to respond to that question?
I don't know.
I feel like,
I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm responding to the question, but I just have a thought. Like sometimes I think about 100 or 200 years from now, right? The archive that we're leaving behind, and if that can only experience us through our literature, right? What are we leaving behind right now? And we, y'all have touched on it. We see so much trauma, we see so much pain, but without these projects, what are we adding to that archive that they won't think that we just live the most, horrible lives, right? And I hope the future can bring so much more joy, so much more better experiences. But yeah, I just think about that. You look at the body of literature now, and big publishers, they only gravitate towards certain subjects, certain ways of living, I should say.
I'm sorry. Okay. That's such a great point, Lauren, and I'm going to use Sean's terminology, the big T they. But I think that's part of it, in terms of how we're perceived by, society, by the culture, is as resilient, is living through trauma and pain and coming out the other side, which is on some level is true for sure. But I do think that thinking about what we have to offer, what we leave behind as, the I can't even say the word now, as the substance of our humanity, I think has to be more than just how we've suffered, that it has to be more than that. Yeah. And we know that suffering is a part of life, it's a part of our life, but it's absolutely a part of Black life and a part of our ancestors' lives. But that's not all that we are. And I think that's the point of this book for me, is that joy is also the sum of our lives as well. It doesn't have to just be about the trauma and the pain, but we know that the literary world and on a lot of levels says that. And I'll never forget, and I think I've shared this with a couple of folks already, I know with Lauren for sure, when I was shopping my last collection of short fiction, and an editor who was really interested in the work, she really liked it. She said the writing was beautiful. She really enjoyed the story. She was really, really taken by a few of them. And she kept communicating with me over email about the book itself. And at some point she says, well, I just can't connect with the stories. Your writing is really good, but I really, really enjoy the stories. But I don't think I can take this project on. And at this point I realized, and I had already decided, you know what? Who publishes Black feminist work that focuses and centers on Black queer women that I appreciate and that I love? And I'm like, well, shit, my own press does. And I said, and so at this point I decided I was going to publish the book. And so I wrote her back and I said, I don't have anything to lose here at this point. And I said, one of the things that sticks out to me when white editors and big five publishers say they can't connect to the work, what that typically means is that Black people aren't suffering enough.
That's right.
I said that to her in an email. So I gave her the receipts so she could come back to it. But she said, and she responded, and I didn't think I'd hear back from her, but she said, you know what? You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a white woman. She admitted it. And we have a deep relationship. Posted on Twitter when my book came out, all this kind of stuff. But she said that you're right, because what sells is Black pain. That's what sells. How many books do you know that celebrate Black life that are on the New York Times bestseller list, that are wildly popular? You know what I'm saying? So I mean, just think about it. And as somebody who's been publishing for the past, almost 10 years now, I can tell you hardly any. And I read everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And so it really just struck me then that I wasn't wrong about, the work is good, you like it, the writing is great, but what she was missing in terms of connection was Black trauma and Black pain. Mm-hmm. And at that point, probably, whether I knew it or not, I decided to publish this book, right? Because I needed people to understand that we are more than the sum of our pain. And that was important for me, So that's why, I walk with my chest out every day because I'm still here, even though they are trying to kill us at every turn. We're living in a world right now, but they are truly trying to kill us every day, And so the fact that we're still surviving, the fact that we can be happy and be joyful, we can celebrate ourselves, matters. We have to do that loudly and as often as possible, and not worry about the big T day. We're going to worry about ourselves, right? We're going to take care of ourselves. All right, somebody else want to jump in? I think I thought I heard somebody. I see a bunch of comments.
Stephanie, what you want us to jump in on?
No, something. Let me get back to the comments. We got some questions over here. Let me get back over here.
Right. We won't take up collection now. What? Because you have
first next donations. Come on.
Put in some orders for this book now out there in the audience. Go ahead and order this book.
That's right.
Come on.
Okay, let me check the comments right quick. Okay, let's see if anyone's got anything else. I think Renee Best, whose wonderful story, Miss Joy, Joy is in here, asked, "Do we think that we're in a Black Renaissance? Are we in another Black Art Renaissance? What do y'all think about that?"
Interesting.
And somebody, Cherie, said she thinks we're always in one, which and some level I for sure. But I do think there's something happening in this cultural moment that is a little bit different, that more of us are putting ourselves out there, in different ways, writing about our experiences, writing about our lives, but also writing amazing fiction, amazing poetry, playwrights doing all kinds of amazing work. I do think that we are having a moment, another moment. And I don't know that we've ever stopped having moments, but I do think something different is happening right now, But y'all, what do y'all think?
Kind of wonder, because when you say, the Renaissance, or you talk about, the different movements in literature, are they designated because white people are recognizing those works and publishing those works? Because I kind of agree with the person who said we're always in a Renaissance. Because we're always producing art. It may not get out there because we are not in power.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And right now, some of us have infiltrated the systems, if you will, which allow certain people to get published. I know we're having a visual art renaissance here in Detroit, and I think around, probably around the country, the murals and so forth. But that's because white people are pouring money, or we can draw monies into it. So I'm just wondering, are we letting external situations designate how we label our art? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of the conundrum, right? Is that, we need resources and support sometimes to do the work because ain't none of this stuff free. But on the other hand, you don't necessarily need, white folks' approval to do the work that we're going to do anyway, right? Because I think that's part of it. And Cherie says here, it gets commodified and put into language after the fact too. For example, the people in the Black Renaissance didn't know they were in the Renaissance. They were just doing their work. And that's exactly true too. And I think that is even partly true now, is that we're just doing the work, that we all are doing our work, regardless of whether or not there's a cultural moment happening. We're just doing it. If we're paying attention, if we're reading about what other Black folks are doing, if we are interested and got our eye on, what's happening out there in our own spheres, and it does feel like something is happening because there are lots of us doing really amazing work. Is that a renaissance? Who knows? Does it matter? Absolutely not. We're just doing it.
So what I wanted to say to that, if I may, right quick, is the question is who is asking that question and why, and how is it relevant anyway? And I don't think it is. That's somebody else's reality, and it's all about a distraction. It's like I have self-published since 1981 because I refused to give into or be broken by or concede to the caveats of all those other people. I exist. Is that a movement? No, everybody figure out how to label it.
Yeah, because you know what? You look like in the 60s, like Dudley Randall and Haki Mahmoudi and so forth, Third World Press and Broadside Press, and Black people start publishing each other. Mm-hmm. And those works still exist, and those works laid the groundwork for a lot of what young people are doing today. And they were, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mahmoudi told me I could not write. Also, he also told me I could not write. So I just, you know, sometimes I think it is good to have somebody like me, a living archive at present. Mm-hmm. I respect him. I reminded him of that. I still like his little sorry poetry too. Anyway, so okay. what I'm talking about is creative energies.
Oh my goodness.
So I own all the books that Stephanie and Lawrence Press have published. Mm-hmm. I make that a priority to own. As soon as I see it advertised, I get it. I put my energy in what little chump change I got. Where I believe in the people. The movement for me right now is, you know, Black Joy Unbound. If other people don't know it, that means they out of it. You know, that's all I can say.
Yeah. But I think both of you have a good point, though, because I think that Black establishments, sometimes that becomes another whole thing, right? You know, that keeps us out, right? So that also happens. So I, you know, both people have access there. And Doris, in terms of, you know, really understanding your journey in terms of self-publishing, that's one of the things I interviewed you about way back in the day, you know, and I was just so amazed at, you know, I hadn't even thought about starting a press until I talked to you. I think that's part of the inspiration for it, just in terms of understanding the difficulty of you trying, you know, I think one of the images I remember is that you were, you know, stapling the book as you were getting ready to go do the reading, you know, one of your books. And that stuck with me in terms of the physical labor that it took for you to actually get your work out there, and that you did that and you were committed to that, you know. And I said to myself in 2014, it's so much easier technologically for me to do this now, and I can, you know, and then so I did. But part of it also is that sometimes we have Black establishments as well, right, who decide whose work is valuable. We see that even now, what poets' works are valuable, you know, all these other, you know, the types of, you know, literary folks who, you know, are strivers, or, you know, folks who are really not necessarily interested in us in our totality, but some of us, you know, and that happens as well, you know, and what I had to learn to do was stop worrying about them and worry about myself. You know, what I want to do, and to do the work that we want to do over here, and to just to close a lot of stuff out, it's not even existing in my work anymore, you know. And I read all kinds of stuff, but I don't care nearly as much about whether or not they find our work valuable, because we do. And then there are folks who email us all the time, people who reach out to us all the time, who are, you know, happy that we exist, you know, for whatever reason, you know, and that's all that matters. And I'll never forget one of my favorite writers, and somebody was joking with me one time because I talked about her book so much, they thought I was like her PR or something. Tiara Jones said this some years ago, that you can't write for everybody, but you got to pick one person that you have to write for, you know, and that's you know, that's who matters to you. That if that person is pleased, and you've done your work, and that's what you have to do. Decide who your audience is. That one person who's writing or whose opinion matters the most to you, and write for that person. Forget everybody else, you know. And doing so, you block out the noise that tells you you're not good enough, or you're not Black enough, or you're not queer enough, or you're not woman enough, or whatever, you know. Because we have to stop doing that, you know. Because we'll never get our work done. Because Toni Morrison told us, race is a distraction, and so is competition. You know,
yeah.
I compete with myself. That's it. You know, and I think that's what we all have to do, is not worry about what other folks are doing, and do the best work that we can do. And that's literally it, because that's all that matters. You know, right? Because you have to, not because you want somebody to read it, because we can't control that part. We can't, and so we had to stop worrying about that over here too, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of folks who love Black from the future until they found out how many queer folks were. You know what I'm saying? Because Black science fiction don't really love queer folks like that. And I'm speaking in generalities. I know some do, but I do think that there was a moment where we realized, oh, y'all stopped loving the book because it was really queer. Somebody season, yes. So yeah, my birthday's next Monday. So y'all buy my book for my birthday. Buy this book.
Wait, Stephanie, buy this book. Can we repeat that? Buy this book. All of us know somebody they don't buy this book, don't talk to them, don't give them none, don't lay down.
Hey, you know what, man?
Okay, don't fix them no food. You gonna buy this book or what? Come on.
Anyway,
my goodness.
But we write for ourselves and because we love it and because it means something to us. It edifies us, it nourishes us, it helps us to get up every day, and that's why we do this work. Because like I was saying to somebody recently, I started making soap over the summer, because I just felt like I wanted to try something new and just do something creative, and I said, BLF Press is for everybody else. That's for y'all, because I want us to have something to share with the world. But these other things that I do are for me, for my own personal edification. And this is also for me, but I know that we are leaving an archive of work by Black queer women, by Black lesbian feminists that matters to people who identify as such, even folks who don't, but that our work matters. And it matters when Barbara Smith was doing it with Kitchen Table Women of Color Press. And it matters now. It matters when Lisa Moore was doing it, with Redbone Press. And it matters now that we're doing it too, And so at the end of the day, we want to leave an archive of our work. And that's what we've been doing, And so it's not because we're going to be bestsellers, because we probably won't. But if we are, great, we can fund more work. But if not, we put out something that we love into the world, and we hope other folks love it too. And if not, it's lots of work out there you can love as well. We don't stress that. It's room out there for all of us. It is. All right. I'm going to get off of my soapbox. Anyway, so besides Auntie Doris, what else we got? So we gonna put her in the corner for a minute. She gonna fight all of us. I'm just, being in this room with you brings me a lot of joy. So I'm excited.
Nothing else, no more.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna get it 2 seconds, and your new best friend over here, Miss Esperanza.
I see. I'm telling you.
I love it.
I love her. She crazy.
Let me see what else we got in the comments, y'all. Let me see. Somebody says we are bespoke and cultured folk. I love that. I love that. I love that. Who said that? That was Yolanda Brown. I love that.
Somebody got LMAA a lot.
Yeah. And my own paper. Worry about yourself. That's Crystal. Yes. Yes. Virgo season, absolutely, yes. Yeah. And she's talking about people creating presses in the 70s and 80s because we had to self-publish, because we just did not have the presses are still out there. Yes, absolutely. Yes, we have to do these things for our work. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any other questions and comments? Our time is winding down a little bit. Anybody on the panel want to share something else?
Sincere gratitude. That's all I got.
Yeah. Okay.
It's really fun meeting you guys. That's all I can say. It really is. You guys are.
Nice.
We like to have a good time. We Southern folk. We like to have a good time.
There one day. I'm coming.
I'm like Doris. I don't make folks cook. I take them to the restaurant.
I cook.
I cook. I was wondering if you cook. I know I cook. I live in Georgia. I can cook. It's the same.
Not everybody has that talent. Okay, I got other talent.
We got a couple questions in the audience. We got a couple questions. So, Silk Jasmine asked, "What is our daily joy practice?" Oh wow. Anybody want to start?
Our daily what?
Joy practice. What is your daily
joy?
Joy
That's cute.
Can I go? I can
I
go.
like
Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Actually, no. Kwame, no, you go first, cause yeah, no.
Y'all keep bumping heads every time. Go ahead.
I like to wake up at 7 a.m. and make myself tea and go sit on the balcony and watch the sun come up.
Beautiful.
That is nice.
Okay. My daily joy practice is singing. I like read somewhere that like it's like healthy to sing for at least like 10-15 minutes every day. So whether it's me like getting ready in the morning, whether it's in the shower later in the day, whether it's like during my commute, I will try to hum, sing something. Because I think it's like a general release from the body. And it's fun and it's nice. And you know, who doesn't love a little karaoke moment?
Awesome. That's nice. Anybody else want to share practice? Your daily joy practice?
Yeah.
Well,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just gonna piggyback off of what Sean said. It's and someone else mentioned this too earlier about listening to music. Like if I don't listen to music for some time, I get a little cranky, and singing comes with that. Like singing whatever you're listening to. Sometimes I hum when I eat. So definitely connected to what Sean was saying.
Yeah. I have to ask, are you Pisces? Because Pisces, it's music is their thing. So, you know, I'm yeah.
I'm an Aquarius.
Oh, okay. I'm on the cusp, Aquarius, Pisces.
Yeah.
So music is the thing, yeah. But also I like to wake up. I mean, this summer I've had off, so because I'm an educator, and just waking up in the morning, doing some yoga. I would go on the roof. We have a roof, you know, and go up there and do yoga. It's windy, the mat is blowing at me, but it's still great to be out there in the sun and doing your positions and feeling the warmth on you. And that's what I do. Like I've been doing like all summer, like just enjoying that.
Nice. Someone asked about if there was any significance to the colors on the cover. I wanted us to do something that was really bright and bold and colorful. Our covers are always, some expression of Black art, I think, in some ways. And we've had some that were commissioned artists that have done a couple of our covers. But I just, what we typically do is I tell Lauren, or I'll send her some images of what I want or what I like. And then usually she'll come up with something, based off of my idea, which is how it works. But I wanted something bold, something that would stand out, something that felt joyful. This feels like a burst of sunlight. It feels like a burst of happiness to me. It feels like flowers in the field, and I'm not somebody who loves nature. I'm getting better. But it just felt really, it just felt joyful, and so Lauren can tell you more about how she decided, how to create the image or the graphic here. But more than anything, we just want something really bold and beautiful that will get people's attention and that will just, to me, signify joy.
Yeah. Pretty much did what I wanted, right? Within Stephanie's parameters. I'll never forget when I was a sophomore, right? Our program, and the professor asked me why I chose a color. And I tried to BS the answer. And he said, look, just say I liked it. So I learned. I liked it, right? I've done all the BLF Press covers, so I definitely wanted to make sure that stylistically this one was a little different than everything else.
And the one thing I love about how we work together is that I can give her an idea and she's gonna come up with something that really just visualizes what I was thinking. I still haven't figured out quite how she does it, but she does. And it has worked every single time. I remember us at a book festival before COVID times, and someone says, all your covers, they kind of have a theme. We can tell a BLF Press cover. And that was important. So when you see our books, they're ours, and partly because we have the same design for all of them, So even if we commission artwork somewhere else, Lauren still designs the cover, which is a different process, you know. And so I knew that she would create something beautiful. And I think this is probably the first time, if not close to the second time, where I didn't ask for any revisions at all. You know, every now and again, just be something small, something tiny, you know. But this time I was like, oh, that's it. I'm done. We're finished. I mean, it literally was just that easy this time, you know, because she really just hit it the first time out the box. And it's just beautiful. I just love it, you know. And that also comes with trust and knowing that she knows me and knows our mission and is a part of that, you know, an integral part of it. And so that matters, that we have this really good working relationship. And that matters a lot. You know, if people say Black women don't work together, that's a lie. And they stink. You know, it is, because it's just not true, you know. But it is a mutual respect as well. But at the end of the day, you know, I know that Lauren does amazing work. And that's really important because we want our books to look a certain way. They have a really beautiful look and feel to them, and that matters to me as the publisher, that I want our books to stand out, you know, to be an expression of who we are as publishers and editors and writers.
Yeah. And purposeful, and not feeling like we have to jump on trends. I don't know if y'all have ever like kind of looked at book covers like, oh, here are the bestsellers or whatever, and they all kind of try to mirror each other, right? They're competing with each other, so they're mirroring each other. Yeah. We don't have to do that here, so that's something I really appreciate.
Yeah, and like Lauren said, she can do what she wants, and you know, and she says within the vision. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, our visions aren't that separate from each other, you know, in terms of just our mission and our goals for the press, which means that, you know, I trust her to do that. What she wants is what's going to work, you know, and that's it, and it just works that way, and it has since, you know, that first cover, which is Let's Talk, which was still amazing. I don't know if people know that the lines, you know, on that cover are the first lines of everybody's story in the book. You know, just a really cool graphic that she came up with, and I'm just in awe of how she can just create something that's so simple, because I don't like really ornate things. I like simple, beautiful things, and she's been able to do it every single time. You know, so long answer to a short cover. We just picked something we liked, you know, and that we thought would pop, you know. So yeah. Any last questions from the audience? Let me see if I missed anything over here. I think someone said they had a question, but they didn't ask one. I didn't see the question. Okay, all right. So I didn't see anybody ask another question. So speak now, forever hold your peace, y'all. We'll be ready to go to bed. Okay. All right. I'm just going to say thank y'all for your time. And thank you for coming. And I appreciate every single person in this audience that has supported us. There's a question in the question and answer. Where's the question and answer section? Hold on. You missed something? Where is it? I'm in the comments. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I got it. Okay. All right. Let me see what we got. Y'all, thank you. Y'all should have told me something, because I didn't even see the section over here. Okay, let me see. I'll start with the okay. The questions about rural queerness, I'm not sure that we can answer that question, mostly because this doesn't necessarily center that. It doesn't say that it's not. But Doris might have something she wants to say. Where did she go? Because she is in rural Georgia, and that might have something to. She might have something to say. But in the meantime,
I'm sorry, I had a sneezing fit. What did you say?
So we've got a question in the audience that is about how do you go about seeking those communities who understand rural queerness? And so you asked about going about seeking. We don't go out seeking communities. We ask people to come to us. And so we try to create a call for submissions that hopefully speaks to anybody who wants to write something, you know. So we don't necessarily go out looking for folks in certain regions. You know, we've got folks in this collection this time, and I don't know when they're gonna get their books because it takes so long to get there. We got folks in Canada, Montreal, as well as in Toronto. Where else? What's the other province I'm thinking about. Montreal. We got people in Quebec as well as in Ontario, and we've got somebody in London. So we don't go looking for regions or areas. We just put out a call that we think might attract a wide range of readers and go from there. So we don't necessarily focus on that, here. But that's a good question. But I think there are folks who talk about rurality, and queerness. This is a collection of creative writing, and so, there are even folks who are here in Bloomington. I know some Appalachians who are here or who worked in Kentucky and are here now and have some connections there. So I do think that you have to go looking for it if that's what you want to experience, but we don't limit ourselves in that way. We just open it up to whoever is interested and whose work fits our mission and that we think is good. That's what we publish, Yeah, I hope that answers your question, Elaine. Let me see what else we got over here. So somebody asked a really great question about what do you think the book would do for the Black readers in this time of the country burning down to the ground? I'll start, but maybe somebody else can jump in. We've got a couple minutes left. I think it'll remind folks that we are more than what this country thinks of us, as well as it may give them some respite or some solace, opening up the book and reading a poem. I think one of the poems I love, I think I told you about, a straight guy, Black guy. It's called At Last. It's about the birth of his children. And I think it's a beautiful poem. It's really simple, short. It's just really beautiful and lovely, and we don't often see that, in the literature in terms of in poetry, a man writing about how excited he was that his children were being born, which is just a beautiful poem, And so I think that is an offering to people who are interested in what Black male experiences might be, outside of, what we see in the media and in the news and, that kind of thing. So I think that there's a little something for everybody here. There's some beautiful short stories. There's a beautiful essay by Marley about a subway dancer that's just amazing. I love Penny Mickleberry's story about finding love later in life. It's just a beautiful story that I just did not see coming. So I think there's a little something for everybody here. And so I'm hoping that folks who pick up the book will take something with them. They don't have to consume it all at one time. Just pieces is fine. The book is going to be here forever now. We got it, And so hopefully people will just take a little bit of joy with them. That's it.
I like the word you use, respite, because, I'm a reader, and I'm assuming that if most people are going to the book, they're readers too. And so for a lot of people, reading is an escape, right? And it's not saying I won't lie and say I haven't escaped in books with some really heavy subjects and things. I have, right? I've escaped in some books that do focus on Black trauma. But I hope that as readers who are going to books that center Blackness, that we aren't so conditioned to think that that's the only way to escape. So I hope that readers will allow this to be that as well. So escape in the joy.
Right.
And as you read this anthology, you will see like joy, it comes in a lot of different forms, right? So I hope that people will enjoy just kind of like the variety of what it means to be joyful.
Yes. And I think that's it. I think that's a perfect way to end the night. Thank you. And so, Sasha? Is that right? Yes, Sasha. I think we're finished. Thank you.
Sasha? Sasha? Okay.
Oh, she said.
Sorry, I'm trying to come back on.
It's okay. You're fine.
Can you hear me?
We got you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you, everyone, especially to our amazing panelists. Thank you to everyone in the audience that asked questions and kept this amazing conversation going. I just want to remind you one more time, even though y'all are really, really great at this, to please support Karis if you can. Purchase the book from us. You can click on that teal button to purchase the book from us. It really helps us keep going and hosting more events like this. Your support matters to Karis a lot. But yeah, everyone have a great night, and we are going to head out. Peace out, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you for supporting BLF Press. Thank you.
All right. So